themselves want to go towards the Renekton pick. It was a champion that ZS has leaned towards quite heavily in the last year. Though I feel like you would only see it if we were going to see the Nidalee combo come out alongside it. Looks like Ultra Prime don't want to go for that. They're just going to keep enabling ShiauC onto some comfort. With the fact that these 3 AD carries are taken away, wanting to consistently go for these all-in and heavy skirmishing bot lanes. So Leona is the first to come out.
Funny in hindsight thinking about this Ultra Prime roster where Hacker is kind of a Nidalee player as well, with the Renekton top lane for ZS makes a lot of sense. So no reversal, but the hover is either a shout out to Xiaopeng or it is actually a bigger call out because Hacker as well has his own little pocket picks.
Yeah, really, really cool to see from him. Hacker is the one who the other day I do believe played the Udyr and pulled that one out. So now bringing out the Reksai into the Lee Sin, of course, knocking him up when he is in the middle of his queue. Pretty cool mechanic to come out. Also, just such a high amount of pressure in the early game with the amount of ganks that you are able to set up, and with the fact that Ultra Prime have gone for this, I'd say, pretty heavy lockdown composition. TS going to early rotate the Corki, so we are going to get to see Knight on that one and what kind of impact he is able to have on this pick that, again, has just been taking over games in the LPL so far.
Lyric, it is a big deal that you give over Corki. You give over Corki and you give over an AD carry of their choice that's left up. JackeyLove on the Jhin, something that has been the remnant after the Jinx, the Caitlyn, the Aphelios, which are those top 3. Looks like top esports might ignore it for now as Zhuo goes to Braum, so we're not even taking the AD carry as TES, leaving the opportunity for Ultra Prime to get it instead, if they want.
I mean, now top esports are clearly just completely indexing into playing from range, playing disengage, playing the zoning game and keeping it arm's length, right? Corki Braum very clearly signaling that even the Lee Sin can be used, you know, kicking people away from your key carries on your team. Looks like Ultra Prime just want to answer with a mid lane quote-unquote soft counter. Again, we'll be able to generate pressure in the early laning phase. Later on, we've seen the Rockets can just be so overwhelming to deal with, but Fort Viktor will also gain a lot of potency in being able to dish out his own poke later in the games with those lasers. Yep. Now going into the second phase of bans, I mean, both sides have mocked out, you know, the same support, jungle, and mid. So you would expect for the side of Ultra Prime maybe trying to ban out some of the potential counter picks that Zoom can bring out into the top side.
Well, one of them being the Gwen makes a lot of sense. We haven't seen her today, but, or at least, excuse me, in this series, but with the first Gwen being banned, the Renekton flying through, this pick and ban phase number 3 is completely different. We're seeing Jhin getting banned away as well, something that was just left through to the wayside in the first couple of games, Lyric. With a different direction in mind, what comes next?
You know, I'm just actually really curious what we end up with for AD carries, right? Because we still have Ziggs theoretically open. If Ultra Prime wanted to pull that one out, you probably wouldn't see it on TS side with Braum. We have Ezreal and Xayah still open, I guess. So for Ultra Prime, again, you could look to go for another all-in route, and you still have Cryin playing the same role of where he isn't able to follow in, but you can try and whittle down some health bars before the fight starts. But I feel like Ultra Prime's comp is looking a little bit disjointed pretty much anywhere you go with it, from the fact that you do have Reksai, Leona, and then a Viktor in mid. So again, very all-in heavy, skirmish heavy, Reksai, all about the early game. Then you have this champion like Viktor that wants to stand back. So for Ultra Prime, I don't really know how you glue this together cohesively.
I guess you were talking about the top side for the fact that, you know, maybe that's the glue that they need, you know, something that can play with the Reksai, something that Hacker can play towards, rather. Let's see where Ultra Prime go, because they're 80 carries, again, you know, none have been pinched on the other side by top esports, so Ultra Prime get first pick.
Ultra Prime right now, highlighting the Ezreal. If they do go for this, again, trying to match some range with range, but no, in the end, wanting to go for the Xayah. I feel like for the side of TS, if they just keep rounding this out with again, some long-range poke, I feel like the Ezreal here would be completely fine. I don't really see how Xayah functions in this comp, right? Because typically Xayah really good against other champions that want to look to dive and want to look to all in because of your ultimates. If you just have Knight throwing out rockets and Ezreal throwing out mystic shots, not going to get a whole lot of value out of, you know, the Xayah's skill set.
All right, what do you do? Corki, Ezreal, and Lyric. If this gets locked in, I'm just going to say the disengage potential also from Braum, from Gragas now, makes it easy for Knight and JackeyLove to have a swell game.
Yep, we're playing, like I said, we're playing long range, we're playing poke. Top Esports made it so obvious what they were going to do once they did lock in that Braum pick on 3, or at least what you would expect them to do. I guess TS don't always follow necessarily what is expected of them. For Ultra Prime, I mean, heck, you could lock in the Camille. Looks like they might stray away from that one, but I feel like playing a range game is just one you're going to lose. Again, I don't see who Xayah hits in these team fights, unless Zoom and Zhuo are just kind of running it down into you. Xiaopeng as well, known to be quite over-aggressive, but my point stands. I feel like it depends a lot on some of the mistakes coming out from the side of TS. We're going to be paying attention to what Hacker can get done early on, especially for bot lane. TS's bot lane is quite defensive. Could be quite hard to find any ganks on them with things like the E coming through. I guess top is always there, even though Gragas does have the dash, and especially post 6 is very annoying to dive because of his explosive cast. I think pre 6, very doable to say.
To the series win. That's what matters here, dude.
You're trying to tie it together. You can't do it. Okay, here's the question though. Would you get a Reksai body pillow?
Oh, I think I would. I should start selling them. Do they sell body pillows or not? I mean, I do have a partner, and she'd probably kick me out of bed if I got a body pillow, but you know, it might be worth it if it was a Reksai one.
Well, I was gonna say it's too bad because now for your birthday you are getting a Reksai body pillow. You're welcome.
I don't know how you
okay,
find
that. Moving away from attraction. There's a game on our screen.
Yeah, tell
Games
me
are
about
cool. Well, like we stated, right? For TS, I feel like early game, you're totally fine. Very strong level 1, so it looks like they are going to utilize this right Braum. Pretty much known as the king of level 1s because of his passive. Will they be able to get away? Looks like they're fine.
Cryin needs to just back away. I mean, Knight's going to get himself some gold, thanks to the fact that he's got first strike. So Knight and his little rocket ship zoning them away. And for top esports, they're sticking to the buff. Lyric, it is going to be set up on the bottom side, and you were just telling me that Hacker's opportunity lay in the fact of hitting JackeyLove, hitting Zhuo, hitting Elk and ShiauC, their strongest lane, into a comfortable position too.
Overall, though, I think massive loss for the side of up, like you're saying, but really smart by Top Esports realizing, hey, we do have this strong level 1, we can push Reksai off. How is Reksai just going to run into Ezreal Braum at level 1? It is impossible, 100% cannot be done. So he gets kicked out of his jungle. Now I want to see what Xiaopeng decides to do. Does he stick around bot side, head straight to the camp? Does he make his way towards top side and prevent any sort of, you know, invade or even... Ooh, wait, I'm going to pause though.
ShiauC going to get down to half HP. Elk sends back with a bit of a blade caller. And note as well that Elk has gone airy here, Lyric. Long sword in hand as well. And in the offseason, we did see a Xayah build where we were Q-maxing and just sending out the poke in the laning phase.
Yeah, we did. We've seen a lot of different Xayah builds come out over things like the off-season. I remember having things like lethality items, serrated dirts, all-inning on having a bit of stronger early game power spike. Going with the Clips as your mythic is one that is typically taken if you are not running towards the lethal tempo and crit build.
Yeah, so I'll be tracking a little bit here as we see items picked up by Elk, but just food for thought here for our chat is Ultra Prime. They've got Hacker in the top side here. Now note, he is a camp behind as he goes for this scuttle. And look at what Xiaopeng has left to clear all the way to his top side after clearing, I believe, all the blue side from Hacker. 20 CS to 12. Hacker now going to be spotted out thanks to the Sonic Wave. That means the Xiaopeng's ready to go, even with ZS
is coming.
Down. Well, what can they do?
ZS on his way. Knight, though, trying to zone off Cryin. They might have an easy turn on a Knight right here.
It's a weird position, but still has Valkyrie available. Hacker on his through. But we headed towards the bottom side to get a double scuttle. Not as big as it was before, and especially since Xiaopeng got the early jungle lead. See if Hacker's able to catch up. And once again, find a lane to enter early as Lyric. You wanted to see this Reksai get some work done in the first 15, 20 minutes.
And we already hit on how it feels like his only easy avenue is top. I feel like for bot lane, it will take some setup of either trying to get your wave to crash, setting up a bounce back. It looks like right now they are trying to back up this wave and potentially set up a dive. Xiaopeng is on the opposite side of the map, so pretty good for the side of Ultra Prime. They do have a massive wave being set up.
It's huge. I mean, it's a wave and a half there, and Hacker's now spotted out. Look at where Knight is. He could walk around, but even more importantly, Xiaopeng there too. So with the massive wave down the bottom lane, not much can be done. ShiauC walks up, turret plating close too. Elk takes a turret shot as well. As Zhuo stands in with the Unbreakable. Really good to get the aggro down there. And Lyric, Xiaopeng on the way through. That's a flash forward from Zhuo. They want to get Elk. He's exhausted. He's got the close shot on top of him as well. Elk with one more hit, the concussive blow. Slow him in his place. He's lost both of his summoners. Hacker now on the way in, but the support's going to die before he can get on in. Hacker flashes in, but this is the problem because for Xiaopeng, he's given over the second kill to JackeyLove. Stunned in place. JackeyLove, it's not a 0-4 start. It's a 2-0 start for this AD carry.
And I'm really surprised that Up decided to double down on it. We see Hacker turn around. I think numerous members of Ultra Prime are probably dead regardless. Really nice discipline coming out from Xiaopeng to back off of Elk. Realize, hey, ShiauC's just up in our face. Let me not run in 1v2 up against Elk and Hacker to just help take down this Leona. We're going to see how it's set up, though. We need to remember that Hacker did just visit the lane. Amazing flash Q coming out from Zhuo. Catching Elk off guard. The flash coming out from Xiaopeng could be able to hit these passive sacks coming out from the Braum. And like I said, here Xiaopeng turns away, doesn't keep chasing Elk into Hacker. And here's where I'm a bit surprised that Hacker didn't just try to escort Elk away, maybe knowing that some of these flashes were still up, that certain members would go down. Cryin is here, but in the end, it doesn't mean anything. Massive start for JackeyLove. And heck, now with these items coming out, right, the Sheen, the Caulfield's Warhammer, he's going to be able to play the aggressive style that JackeyLove loves to play.
And because of Zhuo with his start too, he picked up the last kill in that rotation, Lyric. I think for this series, Zhuo has been consistent beyond belief. I think he's had a really good series, and this support is amplifying JackeyLove, or amplifying the rest of top esports beyond anything we've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, Zhuo, I think Zhuo's always been pretty consistent. Like you know how Zhuo will play, and you know exactly what to expect from him. You know that he is a very bloodthirsty support who is always going to pull the trigger. Sometimes does get caught out when looking for his own wards. I think that can be misplaced on the map sometimes, but overall, delivering what TES do need from him. And now for top esports, the win condition looks like it's going to become pretty simple, right? Just all inning onto your bot side. You have Gragas at top anyway, who is going full tank, has the grasp, already buying the Bramble vest. So looks like they're going to potentially try and threaten a dive onto bot lane. If not, they could very easily pivot this into Dragon.
Looking at 9 right now, it's not 80 minutes, so no pack to get the ultimate failed. ShiauC going to get stuck in place once again, down to half HP. Did that 3 times here in this laning phase, and this is where the bullying continues. Knight to poke them down, and look, he might not have his items yet, he might not be anywhere close, but the big one still hurts. Elk there too, and Lyric. We're not even in the fight, but the poking is outraging them. It's hurting under turret. Xiaopeng's here. The kick again is a 2-man. Easily done for the new jungler. Tien, enjoy the bench because this guy's here to stay.
And Ultra Prime just reacting too slowly. We saw them know this was going to happen. They have a ward in that tri-brush right behind their tower. Both Hacker and Cryin trying to rush across the map to be able to cover the dive. Not going to be able to make it in time. Again, maybe just zoning off on the opposite side of the map could have been more valuable. Instead, looks like wanting to take advantage of the resets that come out in the timer, that because top esports has been played, and you look at these resets, and now Ultra Prime's win on the map, to instead start up their dragon stacking. But we can see here what happened, right? Hacker made his way towards the top side of the map to look for a gank earlier on. They actually did spot him out on a ward before this replay did happen. They know they're stronger bot lane from the skirmishes that they just go through. And then Zhuo going to start off with his passive. Instantly, Xiaopeng going in, hitting a nice kick, bringing down Elk, and just delivering ShiauC over to Knight and JackeyLove.
Eric, Knight gave him the blue buff. Xiaopeng slited away so he can hit level 6 as well. And small little plays like that are what I love about what it throws. Really nice coordination here from top esports. The 4-man nets them 5 kills in this early game. 3 in the trade, but you know what we're talking about, folks. Excuse me, 2 in the trade. 5 in total. The Herald now picked up. Gold is at 3,000 in the lead for top esports, and it's not even 10 minutes yet. This is the early game we talk about, and the story that we tell to top esports when they're in their prime, when they're not mucking about or, you know, Lyric, balls to the wall. Top esports, when it all goes right, look very, very intimidating before the game's even got off its start.
I think especially with the fact that JackeyLove now has picked up the Essence Reaver, just the bonus damage you're going to be getting after using an ability is going to come incredibly handy when looking for these really strong trades. Now on the opposite side, TS have said, hey, JackeyLove and Zhuo are fine. We're going to start giving Zoom a little bit of love, who hasn't fallen that far behind, doing pretty fine in this matchup. We did highlight bought the Bramble Vest early on, so sure, ZS will still win and be able to just poke him off to use, you know, his range advantage, his early cooldowns. But Zoom doing a decent job so far, and heck, looks like he's going to dodge Hacker.
Yeah, he knows that Hacker. Oh no, Zoom stays. Zoom stayed. There's no Unleashed Teleport. You could TP if you're not, but you're not doing it. A dive, easy done here for Ultra Prime, and as Hacker gets out, ZS now, Lyric, well, that condition for Ultra Prime has to work.
Yeah, but the kill did go over to Hacker, so Hacker getting a bit more gold on that one. He will be the champ moving around the map, so theoretically can try and transfer that advantage into other places. Elk, though...
Oh, the kick flash, though, and you know what? Glacial Fissure in between. That is as cold as ice for Ultra Prime. 0-3 bottom lane combined. Another double for JackeyLove. 4-0 and 3. And Lyric, you get JackeyLove game 1 all over again.
I mean, we do get JackeyLove game 1, but this feels much more about Xiaopeng, right? And how much time he has spent down towards his bottom lane. Of course, we did give the bot lane credit for the earlier kill, especially Zhuo setting it up with the flash Q, but still, Xiaopeng has not let Elk and ShiauC play the game. We did question how useful this Xayah pick would be, though I guess technically any champion would have gotten pretty much annihilated in this situation. But like we said, the ult not going to bring a lot of value. Xiaopeng even having a flash in that play can wait out the ultimate after he does Q in, use his flash, and find the kick very easily, as we saw.
Hey, Lyric, you know, there'll be a lot of people saying things like Xiaopeng's clean, like this guy over TN, you know, any day. I want to point out that for Xiaopeng, this is not a new jungler to the league. You guys might remember him from Sino Dragon 2019 when they promoted him to the league. SDG's jungler was a big talking point in Xiaopeng's development over the years. Like, watch this again. Waits out Lyric and then wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yep, right into Q and just landed onto ShiauC. Zhuo and JackeyLove are here to finish everything off. And it's just looking solid for Xiaopeng coming in. You know, Xiaopeng has faced his fair amount of criticism. And again, I do call it fair, as a lot of it is deserved. But again, I think when you look at Xiaopeng, the one thing you can appreciate about him is he is absolutely crazy. And when someone is absolutely crazy, it doesn't matter if things will go good or bad, it means things will happen. Which I feel like ultimately is better than, you know, maybe where TN's at right now in the game, especially with this limited champion pool, maybe still being able to find impact on things like Diego, but definitely going to need to see more from TN, especially if Xiaopeng's going to work out in this way. Though it is only against Ultra Prime. The game still is not over.
He's a busy boy, Lyric. Ignite's going to go down with the shield, but it means absolutely nothing. This leads in once again in the right place at the right time. Hacker going to try to take it down, though.
Oh, no, he's dead.
He says, but he gets a bit of healing with the kill, and now Hacker going to regret this one. Xiaopeng has him up against the wall. The kick not available. He used it, and he picks up a well-deserved kill. 9 out of 9 kill participation. The new jungler for Top Esports, all we're talking about in this final game is Top Esports are destroying this early game against Ultra Prime.
Yep, plated steel caps diff in the match between Xiaopeng versus Hacker. Sadly, not able to do anything. Also,
might be dead. Not flushed away from Knight. xiaoC matches with Solar Flare, trying to get Cryin into the fight from Hailstorm, still tick away, and Knight actually dies. Cryin getting the kill. A nice little touch here, considering that Cryin is now 1-0.
Yeah, they were able to lock down Knight for the full duration, got the Chaos Storm off, dealing, you know, full amounts of damage. ShiauC sticking on top of him. ShiauC also taking the Ignite, so even more damage layered on top of it there. They not only kill Knight, but also get his flash as well. Looks like Ultra Prime now not wanting to give over Dragon for free for the fact they just got a pick, but TS have numerous members here.
Oh, there's a fat man who's drinking up all the, whatever that purple liquid is in Arcade. Munchville's put a post out recently, Lyric, or at least a month, 2 months ago. That's not recent. And we've identified what Gragas is drinking. I tell you what, this man, he's not suitable for children. He's not a good representative. And with the way he's been fighting in these fights against ZS, he's about to get a barrel of it himself. Look where Xiaopeng is. Look at Zhuo on the way. ZS in pure regret mode. The kick is there, up against the wall. You know what? Send him out. Xiaopeng's been making pretty good kicks. One not so great is okay, guys.
They're not able to find it. On the opposite side of the map, though, Ultra Prime are doing a nice job punishing, taking away some camps. Vision is down. Cryin will be able to get this turret. So at least Ultra Prime ZS doesn't get picked off on bottom and side lanes. They're denying some farm. They're taking away camps. They're going to pick up another Scuttle Crab, and they're keeping themselves alive in this game, even though they are 4K gold behind.
Because something Ultra Prime. Remember that it was close in game number 1 where Ultra Prime, they were down 3,000 gold, but Top Esports, it's their mid-game that we questioned. It was their, not decision-making, Lyric. What's a word we found? Yeah. What do you call it?
Is there another word other than decision-making?
Well, it was more the fact that they make decisions they shouldn't. So, the word I'm looking for, I guess we'll call it the uneasiness of Esports deciding on what to do. But now when we find something easier, we'll go from there.
I feel like the word you're looking for is indecisiveness, but TS aren't indecisive, so yeah.
But they're not, they make, oh my god. Well, Elp, don't think he has ulti. He's lucky to dodge that one. Nice little sidestep up. He actually did have ulti, but he didn't want to press it. So sitting on the edge, as Elp gets poked down by JackeyLove. Remember this Ezreal, we haven't been talking much about him. It's been the Xiaopeng show, but JackeyLove's been a benefactor. 4-0-3, got a lot of kill participation as well from the early kills, and as Knight comes in with the package, it's just to make sure this mid turret goes down.
I also feel like JackeyLove is the hardest person to deal with for the competition. Well, Prime xiaoC though.
Well, he might be dead. JackeyLove sits behind. Hacker goes into the backline. He's trying for something, but remember, you talked about in draft. This is a Pokemon. For Ultra Prime, they have to get away. Top Esports now using Zoom as a bodyguard as JackeyLove is still alive. Xiaopeng right behind him. ZS top shield bow as well. Ultra Prime, they lose 2, but they gain 2 as well. If they're so far behind, it feels good that they've received something.
Yeah, I didn't see how Knight got bursted out so quickly. JackeyLove still able to stay alive, still able to dish all that damage. xiaoC we saw got deleted instantly. Hacker following through as well. TS will be able to still keep some pressure on the map to threaten. Is Xiaopeng looking to be a bit cheeky, trying to find ZS.
Oh, well, that Sonic Wave is connected, maybe not even needed. The Dragon's Rage will execute him, but Xiaopeng doesn't have it, nor does he need it. The 5th kill going down. Lyric, I can count. And that's still 12 out of 12 kills.
And now gonna look to potentially punish xiaoC. Elk is here waiting in the wing zone, and it looks like TS instead are deciding to go for top turret. If you look at our mini-maps, Wall right now is hovering over towards Knight, cleaning out that one. I want to get to see the replay. I want to keep my eyes on what happens with Knight. xiaoC actually landing right on top of him. Nice lockdown. Hacker following up immediately. Then Cryin drops the Chaos Storm. Okay, so Knight never even got a chance to move. Was locked down the whole time, so not able to dish on that poke that we were talking about. Still, I feel like JackeyLove is going to be the biggest thorn in the sides of the members of Ultra Prime. Though we do see right there, right? They do have a ton of DPS. They do have bursts coming out from Viktor. Xayah's there. That they have the damage if they can find the fights. I just feel like for TS, I feel like as we get more into mid-game and it's less about fighting in enclosed spaces and you are more just like staring at each other in front of mid-wave or staring at each other in front of Dragon, there's more room to play with, which does benefit TS's comp though.
Okay, well, again, the poke you mentioned, like the fact that for Ultra Prime, the parts didn't really move with one another. That's what you're telling me in draft, where we were questioning this quite a bit. The fact that Ultra Prime have come back somewhat in this game is great. But again, listen to what Lyrics just said, is the space kind of opens up a little bit as they stare each other down. Careful of the Corki, be careful of the Ezreal. JackeyLove and I will do quite a lot of kicks back.
Careful of Xiaopeng.
Look at this guy. He's clinical. Any more clinical, he'd be putting a COVID booster in my arm.
And you even look at the minimap, right? There were wards just about everywhere, so Xiaopeng able to be sneaky and get around it. Just JackeyLove hiding out Hacker.
All there to defend his 80 carries. He's been there all game. 5 kill Ezreal, 2.5 items strong. And remember that for Top Esports, they're going to Dragon. They want to pick first, as xiaoC's the target at a half HP. The rest Ultra Prime targeted, but JackeyLove's out of the back line. The True Barrage lines them down. It's a good engage from Ultra Prime. It's defensive, but Zoom still picks up the kill. ZS the next target, and this Ezreal lives on. Dragon's going to be the next target, and Top Esports have that in the bag.
TS now being able to get things on both sides of the map. Knight getting some nice damage down on top side, even chunking Cryin out as he PvPs in. So getting a little bit closer towards that soul point. Pretty sizable lead now, 6K gold for TS, 1 Drake up. To kill lead is absolutely massive. I'm actually a bit surprised that the gold lead isn't bigger than what it is, but yeah, CS not really too heavily in favor of one side or the other. JackeyLove with advantage over Elk, but ZS doing the same to his counterpart.
either way. Ultra Prime do have only 6,000 gold down after, yeah, you're right, 14 kills. And something I wasn't thinking about, considering that they do still have a turret, picked up a bit of turret plating. That's Ruben and Tom, as we saw in that early laning phase. So we'll see how it progresses from here, because Lyric, Infernal Soul, now, for a comp that can poke you down, that's probably one of the best dragons to get. I think it just is the best dragon for Knight and JackeyLove to get.
You know, I do feel like a lot of team comps can be prefaced with like, hey, this soul is the best for this comp, you know? I feel like any comp would be happy to have Infernal Soul, though Chemtech probably like, the best for anything right now just because of how it is, so we haven't really seen it use to great effect. Going back onto the map now, though, for the side of Ultra Prime, we can see Hacker is going with a tankier Reksai build compared to the one we saw the other day from Loyen, who did go full lethality. Hacker, I think, is adapting to doing more of the tank style for the fact that they did round out their comp by trying to make it more of a traditional front-to-back with the Viktor and Xayah coming in. So Hacker will be able to play that role as a frontline tank alongside ShiauC, absorbing some of the damage and trying to buy space for Cryin and Elk to be able to hit the members of top esports.
Let's hope, because they need some of those items to be effective like that. We've only got 1.5 in the inventory of Hacker. He's running quite behind. He looks to the engage, buying space once again, but look at the bottom lane. ZS saw him coming, but Knight is just poking away. He might miss the big one. With the tick down, ZS lucky to be alive. Flash burn by only one member in that trade. Top of Esports still winning out with the turret on the top side.
I'm a little disappointed, Hysteric, because this guy was the solo kill leader of the world last split. Solo kill leader of the world! And then the big one missed. And you told me big ones don't miss.
Well, he got the first.
Once again, I am calling you out.
Got the first big one, and you know what? If he had the Dark Steel, if he had the Magi's, ZS would have died. That's all I'm saying. Knight going against himself. Hey, top esports say it's Baron o'clock. Look at your watch, Lurch. What do you reckon?
It's definitely Baron o'clock. You know, Arcane Barrage comes out, really nice damage to L. ZS still on the opposite side of the map, no collateral damage, does have TP. I feel like this fight should squarely be in favor of top esports. Can Hacker find some kind of miracle steal, though? Chaos Storm also up for Cryin.
How many wants to go in? Xiaopeng set him away, goes back in the pit to get the spine down. Xiaopeng went in and out, and I tell you what's like going into a Kmart in peak season. Ultra Prime have left their support, the Peter has to flush away. Top esports making a 1-for-1, but Xiaopeng, what an absolute baller.
Xiaopeng secures the Baron. That was so close, as 50-50 as it gets, with the fact that both Hacker made it into the pit. Cryin dropped his Chaos Storm. But as you said, apparently this is like Kmart or shopping or something. I guess Xiaopeng is that angry old lady who's going to go in and make sure she gets that 2% milk. As we go to the replay, we see a bunch of damage should come out from Ultra Prime. Chaos Storm going to be dropped by Cryin. You see ShiauC getting in. And actually, Hacker not able to get in. Oh wow, Xiaopeng taking incredibly low. Hacker does get in the end, but you're right. TES with a little bit of a funny secure coming out in the end.
I mean, I just love that Xiaopeng just went out, and then he went right back in. And Hacker came in a little bit late, but you know, Xiaopeng asserting dominance once again in this game. It has been jungle diff the story, but importantly as well, top esports had an advantage before the Baron Lyric. Now it's growing even more as Ultra Prime want to defend, but with Baron Lyric, this comp feels like it goes on more of what you've been talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is where they thrive, right? Being able to stand in front of your structure in an open lane, having the Baron up, being able to layer down that poke. For Ultra Prime, trying to answer back with ZS in the side lane. We know Zoom shouldn't really have any 1v1 threat on him right now. ZS will just completely bully him out. Zoom has completely gone the way of frontline tank initiation Gragas. And for TS now, just ping-ponging between two waves, pushed in bot, go to mid, get this down. Ultra Prime, I mean, you have some wave clear coming out, but TS just dished out too much damage at this point in time.
So much 3 items now. I see a crown on the Ezreal. We can talk about that in a second. We got a 2.5 item Corki too, and look at them all just run back to base. It's impressive.
Yeah, it is quite ridiculous. But like you said, ooh, wait, Hacker though.
Yeah,
might just be deleted.
Well, True-Shot Barrage, it's got him. Hacker sent packing, and there's nothing more to say than JackeyLove hitting the mark in game number 3.
JackeyLove has just been on point now for TS to get to keep the pressure up. Heck, It's even opened up for Zoom to pressure in the top lane. Is coordinating a wave up there right now. TS should be able to wait for this wave that's about to come in mid and just keep laying down this siege.
Zoom's doing something in the top side as well. Lyric, this hurts to watch. Goodbye ZS. Goodbye Cryin. Goodbye, who else is that? ShiauC. Elk running away from the fat man with big barrels, and but top esports, that inhibitor's free. The dragon will be free as well. It is free real estate for top esports to try and close out this game. And a much deserved win, but Lyric, I think a much important win. It's not English, let's try again. A very important win for top esports considering that they got slammed by Rare Adam.
Got slammed by Rare Adam, lost game 2. For TS at this point in time, it seems like any wins you can put on the board are just incredibly necessary while you're figuring out your roster, like what's going on in the team, how you want to play. For Ultra Prime, taking a game is cool, but we see here Xiaopeng once again just setting things up with his kick. And then a ton of damage going to come out. We're going to see the Arcane Barrage to finish things off because JackeyLove has been pretty on point with his Arcane Barrages this game.
I think he was a little bit upsetting game number 2, but again, Xiaopeng set him up in the early game with a double kill Lyric, and the reason that top esports are so big is because this man has been everywhere. He's 1 down on a kill, so almost 100% kill participation, but when you're up to 16, the fact that it's close is pure insanity. People will be remembering his name here as he's debuted on top esports here today, and for Ultra Prime, we can just quickly rendition that this team gave them a really good run, and I didn't think this team could give many teams a good run, so I think Ultra Prime, their bars raised quite a bit. And I'd be curious to see where they go from here. Now, the game still has to end, guys. It's LPL. I've seen bigger throws at higher gold leads. But at this point, I'm willing to say that Ultra Prime are, out of options.
Oh, they definitely are. And I also want to go back to top esports side. How did the Braum pick? I remember getting asked before the season started if I think there's any like sleeper pick that will be pretty decent. And for the LPL specifically, I said Braum, just for the fact that I don't expect our league to lean too heavily into enchanter supports. We really haven't done that over the past few years, even when other regions did, as Hacker looks like he's caught out once again. I feel like I've said that a lot.
You have, unfortunately you have. Knight and JackeyLove combined together. JackeyLove's True Shot Barrage held in hand. Top esports putting the finishing touches here, and you were just mentioning this Braum. I mean, it's been great for Zhuo in this game. We've seen what it does in the lane, and Lyric, the option to try and attack a lot. But the lane has to be perfect. Zhuo adds a lot of defensibility for JackeyLove on this Ezreal. And what it's done for the fights as well is keep anyone from Ultra Prime getting near those core carries.
I feel like when you just think about LPL and you know things are going to come out, like the Renekton's, like now we're seeing the Reksais, even like Jarvan's, tank supports. Braum just does so well at shutting a lot of those teams down in lane, and then later on in team fights, and just being able to sway them, or if they are squishy melee champions, tagging your passive on them, they're easy to burst out. And yeah, just great adaptation by TS to be able to bring this one out, especially when we have a ton of long-range carries coming out in this meta as ShiauC goes for the flash, but it turns into nothing.
Well, flash forward, trying to get rid of the package, but the problem is Zoom's here. The bodyguard at the ready once again. 2 minutes until the dragon, guys, but Baron's sitting there waiting. This would be objective bounty that would push Ultra Prime below the 10k mark, maybe. But how do they get nearer to Xiaopeng and JackeyLove started away?
They're just going to have to be decisive, right? You assume they're on Baron, you're going to have to engage on this 3-man core.
Can you
find
get
a
near
window.
Knight? There's 4 people running at Knight. This guy with a rocket ship is just laying down some bullets. Hacker around the wing, Zoom zoning him, and Ultra Prime half HP just having a sniff in their general direction.
Well, you look at their comp, right? They have Leona and they have Reksai. The Leona ultimate was just blown. Rek'Sai's only real way of guaranteeing the knockup on anyone at this point would be Flash, and Hacker doesn't have Flash. So after ShiauC blows the ultimate onto Knight to try to force out the package, they just don't have a way of committing onto him afterwards. He's getting so much value out of those rockets with the AP build, which seems like it's just being what we're seeing more and more of now compared to the AD build, which we saw more of, I think, on the first 2 days. And now Top Esports should be able to just look to push for the close.
A clean end is what we want to see. The gold value is intense. Xiaopeng again back into the lines as once more this new jungler setting this game 3 up, and he should be the one to close it through. He gets another kill. He's getting low. Hacker into the back line, but he meets with death. the Chaos Storm, the last great hope for Cryin to do something. But as he sees his team fall, he's left around the bodies. Top Esports remain strong, and in Game 3, take this to a close. Cryin dodging away, but he ain't Neo from the Matrix. He's in the Matrix right now, Lyric, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy. If you haven't listened to me cast before, it's an absolute shamble, like Ultra Prime's game number 3 and their chance at the series. Jeez.
Top Esports, though. Go calm down, sir. Go take a timeout. Top Esports, though, picking up their first win of the season. Was a little bit shaky. That game 2 especially getting absolutely rocked by Ultra Prime, giving Elk the first pentakill of the LPL split. But ultimately, Game 1 and Game 3